Diving into the world and going through the story of Dragon Ball Z, you want to be a Saiyan or a Namekian or even a super strong Earthling and defeat Frieza, Cooler, or even Cell? Well, that wish can easily be granted with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Welcome everyone to another episode of Buy or Not, where we talk about if a game is worth buying or not while looking at some gameplay of said game. Today we'll be talking about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. It definitely is a game that has been out for a while now, since the game did come out on October 25th of 2016. You can literally play this game on any platform: PC, PS4, Xbox One, and of course the highlight of the video, Nintendo Switch. The release date of the game for the Switch was a little later, on September 22nd of 2017, and obviously with Dragon Ball FighterZ as its main competition for the Switch, which will be the next episode of Buy or Not, wink wink nudge nudge, it's not getting the overwhelming love that it may deserve. Well, let's dive in and see what the game is all about. Basically, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is a fighting RPG game where you can create your own character and go through the arcs of the Dragon Ball Z anime with a twist to each arc. You could create your own Saiyan, human, Buu race, Frieza race, or a Namekian. And yes, you can become a Super Saiyan if you create your own Saiyan, but we'll get into that a little bit later. If you're familiar with the older Dragon Ball games like the Budokai Tenkaichi or Shin Budokai for the PSP, it's very similar in terms of the UI layout and its system during the fight. You have your typical health gauge with the key bars and a stamina section as well. The biggest change would be how 3D it is. Usually the Dragon Ball games were very 2D style fighting games, but with the Xenoverse series, it has been changed so that it's more like a third-person style game. The menu UI layout is very unique and creative. Basically, there is a hub where you can run around or even fly around with your created character to talk to different NPCs, visit shops, and different areas that you might be familiar with if you watch the anime. You can also interact with different people and players if you go online. In terms of the story, it's actually very unique and interesting. Basically, you are a time controller and your job is to correct any discrepancies to the timeline. This was actually an amazing experience because you are going through the original events of Dragon Ball Z, but you see the what if version of the story. What if this happened? Or what if that happened? The enemies are stronger than they should be, and you team up with the Z Fighters to conquer the enemies. And the super cool thing is that you can take your created character, go online, and fight with other players to see how good your build is. Now let's go through some of the things that you might be wondering about the game. To start things off, as I mentioned before, you can become a Super Saiyan if you create your own Saiyan. There is a transformation skill called Super Saiyan, and depending on how many key bars you have charged, you can transform up to Super Saiyan 3. 3 bars, Super Saiyan 1. 4 bars, Super Saiyan 2, and 5 bars, Super Saiyan 3. There isn't an option to turn into a Super Saiyan 4 yet, at least to my knowledge, but when you reach a certain level, there is also an option to become a Super Saiyan Blue. That skill must be obtained in a different way though. Which leads to another point you might be wondering, is Dragon Ball Super related to Xenoverse 2 at all? The answer is yes. You'll be able to use characters like Beerus or Whis, and even go through some of the storyline available from Super. The visuals and the sounds of Xenoverse 2 was kind of like a roller coaster ride for me. It doesn't mean that it was bad, but it wasn't mind-blowing either. The visuals are vibrant and pretty accurate when it comes to the character designs and the scenery for each stages, but the sound, it's not as dynamic as I would have hoped. The music and the sound effect just didn't give me that feeling of excitement. Because it is Dragon Ball, the punches and kicks are super fast, so it might be less dynamic than other fighting games, but it certainly lacks the impact on hit sound effects. The bright side is that the ultimate attacks and the super attacks, like the Kamehameha wave, looks and sounds incredible. It just would have been a lot better if that was for everything. Xenoverse 2 is super similar to its first game, but at the same time it looks and plays better than the first. The thing with Xenoverse 2 is that it has a feature that the other games similar to it or with a similar name doesn't have. And that is creating your own character with the selection of most of the races that we see from the anime and actually having a big sense of progression. Getting new skills, transformations, and allocating stat. Hunting for certain gears and or clothing while leveling up is an amazing feeling to have while playing any game, but to do it in the world of Dragon Ball is amazing. Overall, it's a Dragon Ball game. You have your Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Krillin, and so on and so forth, with these characters by your side and going through the events that actually happen within the world of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. It's great. It's not the most perfect game out there, and obviously it has its flaws. With its ups and downs, you will have your frustrations and you will have your epic moments. But in the end, Xenoverse 2 for the Switch is half the price of other new games, and you will sink hundreds of hours in this game. As for my conclusion, I do recommend this game to anyone looking for a good fighting game with a dose of nostalgia. If you guys enjoyed, please hit the like button. If you guys thought it was great, hit the subs button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one really soon.